we've got that pussycat John Cena right in the middle.
Yeah, looking good in pink.
Vivica Fox over there.
Good morning.
Hello, Vivica.
Gorgeous.
And Dr. Jen Berman is back.
Glad to be back. We had to have her back after yesterday.
Now, I don't know, John or Vivica, if you are aware of what's going on here, but you will be. Dr. Jen is back because yesterday she has a show on VH1 called Couples Therapy.
I know.
Yesterday, we had Courtney Stodden, who is 18, and her husband, Doug Hutchison, who is 52.
Because they got married when she was 16.
They got married when she was 51 and she was 16. And so they had to get parental consent in order to do it. They met through a friend online. And so, look, Courtney tweeted me after the interview was done, Billy Bush hides behind the camera to bully. Way to go.
If anything, anybody that watched yesterday, they would say it was the other way. You said everything directly to both of them. We can get the good doctor weighing in.
Mostly to him. I was focused on him. I really didn't say one thing to Courtney much.
No.
I mean, I was talking to the 52-year-old guy.
Not to the child.
Not to who I still consider a child, the girl on the couch. But anyway, do we have the moment? We might want to revisit that just so our guests know. And then Jen, we offered the opportunity, come back to talk to us because we really didn't get to talk to you as much as we'd like to. But anyway, here's the moment from yesterday.
My mother was monitoring all the conversations. We didn't meet, I think it was 6 months. Over the course of 6 months, we were talking online. We were communicating through text message. Yeah, through a mutual friend.
People are going to call you a pedophile and a pervert for meeting a young girl online.
I didn't meet Courtney online.
And they're not far off. I think that's. I mean, you meet a young girl, start chatting with her online. That's really. You're an actor, Green Mile. You've got career here in town. I'm surprised that
you know what
you would do that.
They're going whoa over here on the couch.
Woo.
Well,
you told him the truth.
There you go.
Right.
And
it may not be what he wanted to hear, but you told him the truth.
I think it's hard not to have a strong reaction as a father.
Yes.
When you see something like that, and obviously we'll talk more today about it.
As a father,
Absolutely.
as a human being. I mean, Jen, don't you believe? I mean, look, you're educated. You know this stuff. This is your area. But don't you believe that we have to live by some kind of rules? A 16-year-old girl is not emotionally developed enough to make this kind of decision, so she's raw. She's vulnerable.
Yes.
She's all these mixed feelings.
Look, you heard me say to Doug and Courtney when they were sitting here, I do not agree with them getting married when she was 16 years old. I absolutely do not. I think it was wrong for her mother to give permission. I think that 16, you are in no way emotionally equipped for that decision. And yet, that decision was made. That was not my decision. That was their decision. And they are a legally married couple, and they came to me with a marriage that is genuinely in crisis, a marriage that needed to be tended to, whether I agree with it or not. As a therapist, sometimes I have to work with people who have different morals, different values, different ethics, and at the same time, this is a couple that is legally married and needed help. And
clearly,
my job to provide
What's the crisis?
The crisis, there are many crises, besides the fact of the age difference, besides the fact that he wants to have a baby, she does not want to have a baby. When they married, he lost everything. He lost his family, he lost his friends, he lost his career. She became his whole life. And
wow,
he
what
is
a
so
surprise.
focused,
what
and
a
he
surprise.
is so focused on her that he's lost his identity. That has caused a terrible shift in their marriage. They're incredibly enmeshed, and that was an area I felt I could make some headway. And she is someone who has a mother who clearly has not made strong boundaries.
Her mother's also her manager, promoting her reality show ideas.
And I felt it was really important that she have an experience of a strong female figure, at least for 3 weeks, in my facility, who made boundaries with her and who told her the way things were going to be, and who actually helped to try to empower her. And also, I have to say, one thing that really surprised me was that Doug is so worried about being the controlling older husband that he actually does not set any limits with her. And that's a problem, because in any marriage where you feel that you can't say, hey, you know what, I'm uncomfortable with you dressing that way, or I really wish that you wouldn't be talking to that friend on the phone, that makes me uncomfortable. When you are in a position in a marriage where you are not standing up for your needs in a relationship,
clinging for life. He threw away his career. He threw away everything in order to go with her. I worry if she ultimately leaves him.
Yes.
Where does that leave that guy?
What's going to happen?
Does that leave him as dangerous?
Look, let me say one thing. And when I was told by VH1 Casting that this couple was going to be on the show, I had a very strong reaction myself.
Like almost left?
I come from, my background is I worked on a rape and battering hotline for years. I'm an advocate for women's rights. So I had a very strong reaction as well. But one thing I can tell you is that, well, it's easy to sit and say he's a predator. He's not a predator. He's not someone who, if Courtney left him, would be trolling the internet or high schools for underage girls. That's not his MO. This is something that happened that, well, you or I may not approve of them marrying at 16. This is not a guy who was seeking out teenage girls.
We're going to get into all of it. Where's the father, quickly? Is the dad around?
The father signed right now. The mother and father are separated, are in the process of a divorce, but he did sign on for that marriage.
John Cena. The man.
Look at him.
Okay.
If you're 16.
Can't wait for this question.
Your 16-year-old daughter comes to you.
I'm not touching that one.
All right.
At all. I'm not even touching that one. That is a very unique situation. That's what we have a professional for. Thank you very much for being here.
John Cena, very all right.
I want to take him out. All right, well, Billy, a lot of comments on our Facebook
I think
page.
I know the answer, though.
Michelle writes in, sorry, it's just gross to me. He could be her grandfather. And Shaban says, kudos to Billy for telling them like it is, saying what so many people are thinking. He just forgot to mention it's disgusting, you two together part. I mean, anyway, we're going to get into all
By the way,
that.
there's some people on the other side. I mean, there's all kinds of... Here's the thing
like
about the
in
internet.
Spain
Here's
or-
the thing about the internet, which is, it's like the greatest challenge. Yes, it's a little personal to me. It's the greatest challenge in my life, raising, you know, a teenage daughter myself. To me, it's the most dangerous place in the world. So I'm watching it as vigilantly as I possibly can, and everybody else needs to as well. But I mean, I got young girls coming out going, hey, you know, I like a 40. He's cute, and hitting on me. Like, I mean, it's crazy what's out there.
Hitting on you?
If their fathers knew it, they'd be incredibly upset. And then you got, you know, people saying, who are you to, you know, that's love. You don't know nothing. I mean, I'm just saying we need boundaries. We all got to have some kind of boundaries we can all agree
I'm all
on.
about
It's good
love.
for us.
You
It
know
saves
me.
us.
Sunshine, love. When I see that, my heart
You ain't for that
her.
sunshine and that love, I know that.
She's a young girl.
All right, well, the big news kicks off. People are going to call you a pedophile and a pervert for meeting a young girl online. And they're not far off. You're an actor, Green Mile. You've got career here in town. I'm surprised that
You know what?
you would
can
do
throw
that.
down
You just threw your career away, by the way, haven't you, right?
You know what? I would do it again, over and over and over, because I...
All right, well, it did get a little heated here yesterday during an interview with Courtney Stodden and Doug Hutchinson. They married when she was 16 and he was 51 years old.
All right, Dr. Jen Berman has been working with the couple on VH1 Couples Therapy. Today she's back to discuss more about yesterday. Look, I feel when I watch that, I get a little like, oh, I wish I get, passionate. But I'll tell you what, I'd do it again, and here's why. Let's say there's somebody watching out there who has a 16-year-old daughter, and some much older guy, 51, has been communicating with her, and they're thinking, well, maybe this is okay. Maybe I shouldn't be so upset about it. No, you should, because it's not okay.
And look, we're actually on the same page with that aspect of it. And like I said before, I have been very upfront with Doug, with Courtney, and with Krista, Courtney's mom, that I believe that it was the wrong decision to allow a 16-year-old to marry a man in his 50s. That said, at the same time...
How about even be friends online and communicate at all?
Yes, well, it started out as he was teaching a class. She wanted to be an actress. Oh. It was an acting class, and a mutual family friend had said, oh, I know this guy Doug, he's teaching this class. I think you'd really like his work. He's a terrific actor, and that's how it started.
Does this have to do with fame? If he wasn't famous, would the parents have signed off on her getting married?
You know, you ask a really good question. When I talked to Krista about it, what she said to me over and over again was, look, there were a lot of men pursuing my daughter, and not just boys, men. This man was kind, he was gentle, he was sweet, he was nurturing to my daughter. I don't condone, I don't necessarily agree with her ultimate decision. But absolutely. Look, I think it's uncomfortable to see. It's... When VH1 Casting told me that this couple was going to be on the show, I had a very strong reaction as well. And I'll be really honest, what I said to my producer was, I think this guy's a pedophile. I come from an activist background when it comes to women and when it comes to rape and battering, and I don't know if I can work with these people. And what they said to me from the beginning, from the day we walked onto set, was, if at some point you feel that it is not right to work with this couple, you may ask them to leave. And that's really one of the reasons why I was able to work with them. I came close a number of times, but ultimately what it came down to is whether I agree with this union or not, whether I agree with...
You didn't sign the marriage certificate.
Exactly.
We know they came to you already married.
Yeah, and like you talked about the internet, there are people on the internet who are saying, I condone it. I don't condone it, but I do see that this is a married couple that is genuinely married, and they have marital issues that needed to be worked on.
They do.
And who better to work on them?
What would surprise us about them in your therapy sessions? What have you learned that maybe is not a positive thing, but something that would surprise us?
I think that the thing that surprised me the most is that I came in saying, she's a victim, he's a predator. And what I found out was that she has a lot more power in this relationship, and he is far more powerless than I expected. That he is so worried about being the controlling older husband that he does not voice the normal concerns that you would voice with your wife, or that you would voice. It really surprised me.
Because he's dealing with a child, really, who acts out.
Not because he's dealing with the child.
She wants to be famous, and when she was 12 and 13 years old, there's photos of her online, sultry and sexy poses and all this stuff when she's a kid acting out.
And she grew up in a home where this was condoned, and where the idea of her idols are Marilyn Monroe, that they are, you know, people like that, and she grew up where this hypersexualized image was acceptable, and that was an idealized
Did something
vision.
come out in her background that would make her want to marry an older man like this?
You will see on tonight's episode, I sit down, I have my first session with them as a couple where I ask her if she was molested as a child. I say to her, typically when someone is this hypersexual, they've been molested. And you will have to tune in to find out.
Okay, I've got the doc over here promoting tonight.
The teasing, I'm telling you. All right.
Yeah.
Is his family disowned him? Is that what's going on? His mother?
His family has completely disowned him. His
Not
mother,
just his
his
agents,
brother.
it's his
no,
family.
it is his agent told him, when you married this woman, you shot your career in the head. So he unfortunately has nothing besides her. And that is a shame.
What if he didn't have her?
It's a great question, and it's an unfortunate question. And look, one thing I also want to say is couples therapy is not the Courtney and Doug show. It is a show where there are four other spectacular couples who are doing deep work that I think that viewers, and I think you guys are really going to identify with, couples with communication problems, with addiction issues, who have a lot of stuff going on. And I think that that's really what most viewers are going to relate to. And I do think actually some viewers are going to be surprised that they relate to Courtney and Doug, that there are issues when it comes to communication, when it comes to jealousy in their marriage, that people will relate to.
Okay. Couples therapy.
Thanks.
Tomorrow night at 10.
Thank you.
VH1.